and the magic machine tells me that I'm live. My beard and hair, especially with the sweaters, like the perfect, like, I feel like 1973 marine biologist. Jonaside first in the live chat on Periscope. Way to go, Jonaside. Give me a second to tweet out this link. Then we'll come back and we will. Ooh, hold on. Let's do this. Bear with me. Ooh, Bear with me. Ooh. Mm. Bear with me. You. Bear with me. Ooh. Bear with me. Ooh. Bear with me. Bear with me. Ooh. Bear with me. Ooh. Bear with me. Ooh. Yeah, it seems appropriate. Normally, I try to guard against that echo feedback effect, as it annoys the crap out of many. Even though I love it, I think it goes to show you that even a simple act of creating a YouTube video can call upon the ancient techniques, the old techniques of tape music and the dawn of experimental music. You know what I mean? The title is meant to be provocative. I feel like it's an old joke, but yes, another hashtag no new music stream. If that's where we go, if that's not where we go, listen. If the baited hook catches no vaporwave aficionados unaware and bring them over to this channel, the conversation can go wherever you want to. The reason I started off with the title indicating that we were moving into another hashtag no new music stream was because Jasmine Emmerich, my favorite commenter in the comment section, bar none. Reemsy may be my favorite YouTube content creator, but Jasmine is absolutely my favorite comment maker, and she always and she said basically that she was kind of lost on the hashtag no new music thing and wanted to know if I could give a synopsis, and thought, okay, well, there we go. We'll make that the starting point. If that's where the ending point goes, or if we even get started there, we'll see. Life happens, and I think it's important that we let life happen. And often I'll be also confess that sometimes when a subject is put forward as a task, can you create a synopsis or bring this tighten up the definition or make it clearer? Sometimes I balk, you know what I mean? Like we begin down the road and I'm like, oh, now I got to do a specific thing. Oh. Jonaside first in the live chat on Periscope. First Periscope. Jill D first on YouTube. Jonaside getting the silver on YouTube. We have Jason Albert grabbing that bronze. Go, Jason Albert. Damien Spencer is here with us as well. Jonaside goes for the gold on Twitch. So there we go. We got Jonaside 2 out of 3. Jill D has a gold. All right. Way to go. Sojourn is here. Staniel Grozov is here. There you go. Mario Heat, hashtag no new rants. No, listen. For a different reason altogether, but for reasons, hashtag no new rants, absolutely not. Look, I'm only going to have X amount of messages that I'm going to be able to get through and impinge and solidify in people's minds. You know what I mean? Everyone has like a lot of different things going on, but really, let's like Black Sabbath's entire recorded career, right? It's essentially Paranoid, and then other people like the other records, and some tracks here and there. But you only have a brief time, and especially when it comes to philosophizers or pundits or talking heads on cyber media. If I spend 15, 20 years making YouTube content or content on video streaming platforms, but few of my ideas will solidify and actually stick past, how many of my ideas, thoughts, or concepts are actually going to be able to impinge on enough people to even hope, to suggest that it might last one generation after I die. We might not even be there. It might be the case that CW Chanter will work this lifetime doing the Commonwealth chanting thing, reminding people that, there's no new music, that we've reached some sort of cultural impasse. That people that lie on the internet should be called out as liars on the internet. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's only going to be X number of my thoughts that are actually going to be able to have any hope of lasting impact. So absolutely, we're just going to say the same shit over and over again until you all die, essentially. Take it personal. Do you know what I mean? It does not behoove any of us for me to come up with new thoughts and ideas. It's just repetition, repetition, repetition. So when you guys are in 7-Eleven grabbing a Slurpee, you say to yourself, now that I think about it, there is no new music. God bless you. Yeah, Jonas said, you got 2 out of 3, baby. Way to go, kiddo. We have Mario Heat. Mario Heat getting number 2 in Twitch. There you go. God bless you. God bless you. 25 Dads is here. Hashtag no new music. There are fans of the no new music thing. So Janan says, I'm here for the Chantorama. We'll get there. We'll get there. Jonaside, no new hashtags. Yeah, I mean, look, you're Jonaside, I believe you're second on YouTube and you're first on the other 2 platforms, if I remember correctly. Let's see what we got. We got Jonaside. You were first. First of all, you were first overall, number 1. So there's like a global gold there for you. You're first on Periscope and you're first on Twitch. Jill D got first on YouTube, so that should clarify. Okay. Jonaside, hashtag no new hashtags. No, people throw hashtags out there all the time. People throw hashtags out there all the time. And think about it from a marketing perspective. You can't have 15 logos. You can't have, you know what I mean? You could have a different advertising campaign every season. But the Coca-Cola can has to look like a fucking Coca-Cola can, right? The death metal band logo has to be fairly consistent over time. And the same thing with hashtags. The only way that any hashtag is going to ever have any amount of success, not one of these. Hold on. Bear with me. Hold on. Oh, mute. Sometimes. That, not one of these like, I'm with Britney or, fuck Justin, like spur of the moment, spontaneous happenings. But to actually try and make a particular hashtag happen when there's no general, support for your output on social media, like, good luck. The only way you're going to do is you pick 2, 3 tops and you just work them for like 25 years, right? And maybe somewhere along the span of time it'll hit. Sweet Cheeks is here. Oh no, Truth Seekers, Stephen Campion's here. Hashtag no new get off my lawn shows. Listen, you can criticize or critique me as much as you want to. What do our adversaries? What are the winkadinks on YouTube claiming to be UFO contactees and have metamaterial that they got out of Area 51? Hidden in their keister, whatever. What do they always say is like they love to work that Gandhi quote. What is it? First they mock you, then they fuck in the ass, right? And then they join you. Have fun. Characterize me as the angry young man, angry old man yelling at kids to get off my lawn. I'm out here for the kids. I'm out here for the kids. They must be woken up to the reality that something terrible has happened and they are being victimized by it. I mean, they're being made to participate in their own destruction, which is even really insane. We'll get there. We'll get there. And a lot of this, of course, remember that, folks, that a lot of this verbiage is, in fact, humor, though it might not make you laugh. We have Sweet Cheeks is here with us. And Sweet Cheeks comments with 3 thumbs down. Who are the trolls? Hey, listen, I don't mind. If there's 3 people that are going to show up every time I broadcast and they're going to put 3 thumbs down, you know what I mean? God bless them. It's participation. You are telling me that you care. You may be telling me that you care that I continue to exist. You may care enough to give me a thumbs down automatically before I even say anything, but you care enough to come up here automatically. That means they see I go live, they come here to give a thumbs down. That's an automated response. Whether they do it voluntarily, I'm still living in their fucking heads. I am very happy about that. Not to be a small man, not to be a little man, not to be a vindictive man, but if I have created enough of an impact in a person's life, it may be simple and easy to pick up your phone, to click over, to click on the link, and then automatically do a thumbs down. But you're still doing it. Your synapses are firing. You're making decisions based on my actions, right? I didn't make this video because you were going to give me a thumbs down. Right now, I'm not speaking to you personally or anyone, but who knows if they stick around. I'm not making a video to make someone give a thumbs down, but me making a video, my voluntary action triggers their voluntary action. Eventually, it becomes an involuntary action. Eventually, they're like Dwight Schrute with the Altoids. They don't even know what they're doing. God bless them. Goddess bless them. Community engagement, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, it's community engagement. You know what I mean? And hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Look, Betty Davis once said, you're nobody till you're difficult. Also, someone else threw out the adage, I don't know where it came from. It was P.T. Barnum or whatever. There's no such thing as bad press. You know what I mean? Shades of Howard Stern's Private Parts. You know what I mean? Keep on keeping on. It's no skin off our sack. But if you do know that this might be a good opportunity to say that if you do care that there's 3 people that put an automatic thumbs down, ask yourselves this. Hey, if the people that don't like me are motivated enough to give a thumbs down, then what the F is your problem that you're not giving it a thumbs up? Jerk. Right? And I'm not speaking to Sweet Cheeks personally. There you go. Let's make sure we not get confused. Okay. Oh, here we go. The live chat jumped on me again. I apologize. Let me try and get this together. The reason that we're here, Jasmine Emmerich is here, as well as INJ. Jason Albert asks, how was that Britney Rears video, CW? We had been talking about Britney Spears at length during yesterday's cavalcade of fun. And on Twitter, I believe it was Jason himself recommended and said, hey, by the way, buddy, in case you're curious, there was, a pornographic spoof, one of those pornographic spoof things that happened back in the day for Britney Spears called Britney Rears. And I was like, well, I wasn't aware of it. I'll put it on the to-do list, but I haven't gotten there yet. But the night is young. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll do a live review. But that's, but actually, and this is not to be cute, but this is truism. What I'm talking about when I talk about hashtag no new music in terms of musical culture, has its different manifestations along all media. And the pornographic media is no exception. Back in the day, it was a funny thing. I think the trend started in the earliest days of pornographic film, whether it was internationally or specifically in the United States. of, a movie would come out, a successful movie would come out, and then there would be a pornographic movie that would capitalize that. It would have a little bit of the set and setting, a little bit of the window dressing, a plot semi-similar, and a name that would be a kind of erotic, spin on the title. And, don't get sued, but they would come as close as they could. No pun intended. That's what she said. And some of these movies would end up having, a bit of a draw because their particular take or spin on these things would be particularly effective. Okay. And a classic example is, and this is, I'm doing my best to engage in a scholarly discussion with people. This is honesty. I'm not judgmental, and I'm not going to act like anything. First of all, I'm not going to act like the word penis is a dirty word. Penis is not a dirty word. Okay. There was a pornographic film called Edward Penis Hands. It came out and it marketed itself, and it tried to build off the success of Edward Scissorhands with Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, Vincent Price, directed by Ed Wood. No, not Ed Wood. The guy who directed Ed Wood, Tim Burton, right? So Edward Penis Hands had achieved enough success that people that weren't, whether they're using it as an excuse to rent a pornographic film, or whether it's, legitimate cultural interest. If you had a local adult video store, the copy of Edward Penis Hands was never in stock. I mean, it was always out. It was a hot ticket item, right? It's bigger than Schindler's List. It's a long list. But over time, this trend of making spoof versions of things ended up being kind of parodied in the adult community, adult erotic content creating community. Because I remember it was, 20-year nostalgia loop. It was like if Edward Penis Hands, based on the film Edward Scissorhands, was the early 90s. It couldn't have been earlier. It was probably like 1992, right? 91, maybe 92, 93, 93 at a stretch. By 2003, no one was getting their pornography from the local video store. A lot of it was coming from, obviously, the computers in the early days. Video came after still imagery. But I remember on, Playboy, the Playboy channel, they would have these kind of similar type of spoofs. It's like the erotic adventures of Scooby-Doo or whatever the fuck, and people are dressed up, or it's like, not the Cosbys or whatever the heck. There were a whole bunch of them, and it was there, and it was doing the same thing. Or it was even the last example of a movie that I think achieved any sort of success off of the virtual sphere, off of the broadcasting sphere, off of the world of, like I said, the Playboy channel or Spectravision, like you get in hotel rooms. I know my shit. No offense. Kind of an expert. Make of that what you will. Was Who's Nailin' Palin, right? That gave rise to the success and the career of, what's her name? That lady. Zsa Zsa Gabor. No, I'm terrible with names. Lisa Ann. Okay, God bless her. But when we talk about hashtag no new music nowadays, with the glut of pornography, and this is part of the thing with the hashtag no new music comes from. People could say, Ben, what are you, a crazy person? How can you say that there's no new music when there's 18 bajillion uploads to YouTube or to Bandcamp or to Spotify or to wherever Seville? And it's the glut of so-called new material that makes all material irrelevant, and nothing can achieve any sort of zeitgeist. They can't get any frisson because there's too many competing voices and visions. You know, we talked about hashtag vaporwave in the title of this video. There are many vaporwave channels that I subscribe to. Artsy Music, Vapor Memory, you know, various ones. And, you know, they'll upload new albums, like whole album streams. They'll upload like 5 at a clip, 6 at a clip. Imagine if you bought 5 back in the day, if you remember the days of retail consumption. If you bought 5 CDs every day for 5 days in a week, when are you going to actually be able to listen to those records? And beyond being able to listen to those records, when are you going to have the time to listen to any particular one of those records with enough frequency to kind of get the hidden result, to have it mean something, to be able to come back 20 years later and put it back on and say, oh, I remember that intimately. You know, I was working on a playlist today from 1991. And I cross-reference from Wikipedia to Discogs to various other resources to figure out what albums were actually released in 1991. And many of them I'd actually purchased in 1991. Fudge Tunnels, Hate Songs in E minor. Godflesh's Slave State. With the Carcass record, Discontenting the Insalabrious, whatever. Butchered at Birth by Cannibal Corpse. And I realized that, but you have to understand that you can go through the playlist that I've been working on for 1991 that I've only been working on for a couple of days. Hold on. Let me see if I can get some data for you. Just some empirical observation. Okay, here's 19. Okay, we'll find one. Here we go. Where am I? Remember, I've only been adding records to this particular playlist for X amount of days. Right? And I just basically, if it came out in 1991 and I have any interest in it whatsoever, so like any metal record probably goes on, but a hip hop or R&B record will only go on if I really recognize the name of the artist and I care enough, right? If I'm working on a 160 hours and 44 minutes of music, 2,288 songs, and I probably started working on this playlist like 2 days ago. You should see some of the playlists that I have that I basically completed. Whereas if any record was listed as being released in say 2003, whatever, that it went on the list, those playlists go on for eons. If I listen to any one of those playlists every day for 12 hours a day, I may not be through with them or have heard every song on those lists within a year. And like I said, I've got multiple of these lists. And these lists are symbolic. I can't possibly listen to the music, but I document the music's existence to put things in perspective for you. And this is the thing. In 2021, in 1991, I was a happy-go-lucky teenage kid going down every once in a while to the Square Circle or when Tower Records showed up to Tower Records and buying, ton of what I thought was a ton of music. But what I realized now was a tiny bit of the music that's been released. And that was 30 fucking years ago. First of all, perspective for the old folks in the home. Let's remember, I'm 45 years old. 1991 was 30 effing years ago. That's 30 years of people releasing and making music. Where am I going with this? The records that I do remember from that era, I used to play those tapes till they were broken. So when I hear Godflesh's Slave State, it's not just that, oh yeah, I remember that playing that once or twice back in when I was 15 years old. A lot of these records became like the soundtrack. There were summers where, between you and 3 or 4 of your best friends, there were probably tops 4 or 5 records that you played over and over again, to the point where there is a tangible connection to this stuff as far as memory triggers and as far as knowing these tracks inside and out. That I'm sorry if the video, if the YouTube channel, the Bandcamp artists, these people are releasing records. They're putting Merzbow to shame. They're releasing people used to release at times. There would be bands like Kiss back in the day would release like 2 records in a year, and people would be like, holy crap, like 2 records in 1 year. And then by the time we get to, establish, rock and roll artists, a lot of those guys were only releasing a record maybe once a year, if that. But a lot of times they would go for 2-3 years without releasing a record. I'm telling you, there's some of these fantastic vaporwave artists that I like. I like this music. It's not original. It's not new. I like it for a variety of reasons, but I can tell you this. There are artists that they've been out for 2 years and they've got a discography of 20 records. I'm telling you, they might as well be just YouTube uploads. They're not fucking records. Just because it's 20 minutes long. And first of all, they're going back. When was the last time a record was 15 minutes long? That's like an EP. You know what I mean? And these guys and gals are putting them out like boom, 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 boom. God bless them. But the notion that any particular one of these tapes or albums or uploads or however you want to characterize it is going to be able to be played, the level of commitment that the audience has to do. They have to make an intellectual, not just an intellectual, but a lifestyle choice to say, I am only going to listen to this one upload. And what is that particular upload? They haven't even heard the upload yet. They're going to make the commitment to spend a week with it, as if that's going to do anything. 2 weeks. And how about this? Hard drives die all the effing time, and they don't even just die. How many people know? As time goes on, how many times does the technology? Remember floppy disk? I remember when a floppy disk was that big fucking square. And then I remember when it was the little square. And now I have little squares around. I don't know what the fuck to do with them. This computer doesn't take little squares. Doesn't know what to do with them. And you're going to reach a point where I can't even get on Amazon the little square reader to read the little squares. I'll have to go to friggin' like egg.com or fucking Alibaba, right? Or, subscribe to the, 2600 quarterly or whatever to be able to figure out how to get the fucking data off these fucking things. The USB is constantly fucking changing. I've got USB cables to beat the fucking band, each with a different fucking USB little thing, like what are they called? The micro USB thing. It's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to charge your Xbox 360 controllers because fucking shit just keeps on changing. So none of this stuff's going to fucking stick around. Or who's going to remember? When I see my tape of when I go through drawers and I find my tape of Godflesh's Slave State from 1991, I'm like, holy fucking shit! I remember to fucking throw that bad boy in the cassette player. It's a triggered memory response based on actually having to move shit around every once in a while. When everything's virtual, forget about it. Forget about it. Some of my thoughts are articulated and placed out and been worked over to the point where they're theories. And some of them are just kind of provocations or feelings or emotions or provoked statements. And we go with the flow. And it's like, I'm not, angry at Vaporwave. But you can't be nostalgic for an era that you didn't actually live through. And Vaporwave is 10 years old, and how is it? And then Pete, this is what I'm talking about. #new music. When I was growing up, Jasmine Emmerich had asked in a comment section, what does it mean for something to be new? And it really jumped into my head very simply. There's like living, breathing examples that we can go with. Look at heavy metal music. Okay. From Black Sabbath's debut record in 1969, or the first, couple Led Zeppelin albums, starting that back then flowing through the work of bands like Deep Purple. Is it heavy metal yet? When does it become heavy metal? What's the first heavy metal record? But basically, heavy metal gets established somewhere between the actions of Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and Iron Maiden. Somewhere, something starts to coalesce. Things get heavier. And as time progresses and goes on, by the time you get to past Judas Priest that preceded Iron Maiden, but by the time you get to Iron Maiden releasing their first two records in 80 and 81, the first Iron Maiden record came out in 1980. First Iron Maiden record with Bruce Dickinson wasn't, I don't think, until 83. But that's still going on 40 years ago. But if you go just a couple, and you have to remember that Metallica formed as a group. I think they were together by 83 themselves. But by the time Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer start releasing their first records, between just those generational jumps from Sabbath to Priest and Purple to Iron Maiden and Saxon, then to Metallica, Megadeth, you see things developing and things are changing. The song structures are becoming more intricate. The music is getting faster. So there are changes and transformations. You can't look at the defining sound. And by the time you get to 85, 86, metal has diverted. There's different types of metal. It's because it's gone through these evolutionary phases. But the main type of most prevalent type of new metal was thrash metal or speed metal. Characterize it how you want to. But between power metal, speed metal, and thrash metal, though there might be distinguishing characteristics, whether it was fashion, don't forget that these bands had fashion. When Metallica wear ripped jeans and t-shirts instead of Aquanet hairspray and lipstick and makeup, they are still making a fashion statement that is being understood by their community of fans as being a dictate and an indication of what is proper and improper attire. And then what really deviates between defining something as thrash metal, speed metal, or power metal. This is just 85, 86. This is 5 years after the first Iron Maiden record. This is 5 years after Frozen Rainbow by Saxon. It's fashion. It's lyrical subject matter, but the music has generally progressed the same. More complicated, more intricate, faster. If you go through the same period of time that separated the thrash metal, power metal, speed metal bands from traditional new wave of British heavy metal, Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, whatever, you get death metal. You cannot confuse 86 era heavy metal, thrash metal, with 1980 new wave of British heavy metal. You can't, unless you're deaf. They sound different. It's understood that it's metal music. You can hear the connection, but there's an evolution and a change. And you cannot confuse death metal with thrash or speed metal or black metal that started coming out at the same time as death metal. Why? The people, the lyrics, the vocalists sound so completely different. The music has become so exponentially faster. And the subject matter is universally changed. And over time, again, evolution upon evolution, you see different distinctions and you can make distinctions, but you can also understand the evolution. And the same thing is true of dance music, of house music. You're not going to confuse the house music of Larry Levin or the early warehouse sound. You're not going to confuse that with the disco beats of Giorgio Moroder. You're going to understand that there's a connection. You're going to hear that it's a connection. You're going to know and understand that house music comes from disco. But it's an evolutionary change has occurred in the sound, the format, the broadcasting, the production. It's different. And by the time you get to 88 and you get Acid House, you're not going to... Then things again have completely diverted and evolved into different strains. 4 on the floor techno versus house versus the beginnings of the hardcore scene where they're using, drum loops. and break beats. And then you get to evolutions in both in metal, but as I've been able to see as a participant observer in the goth scene, in the rave scene, in the metal scene, never losing my love for any of these particular genres, always paying attention to see what's going on. When I started off as a heavy metal kid, when I got into goth, I still paid attention to punk and metal and would pick up magazines every once in a while and would listen to new shit and would always hang out. When I was doing drugs and going to raves, I was also still aware and listening a ton to Anal Cunt. Great fucking band. Fucking awesome. But I can tell you, because I can see these scenes as they've gone along, the earlier that something starts, the sooner this evolutionary change would stagnate. And it happened in heavy metal before it happened in techno, but it happened in techno. The last major development in techno music, I stand by my fucking assessment, was jungle. Circa 95, 96, 97 as its heyday. Then after that, there was the electronica movement, which just represented this stuff going into the mainstream and just people taking the format of electronic music, mixing it with the traditional strong structures of rock and roll. And that's how you got guys like Fatboy Slim and Prodigy and the Chemical Brothers and Crystal Method and Underworld. All of those guys. Basically, it's the same fucking formula of success. Traditional electronic, hip-hop, house, techno-based music production stuck onto, whether through sampled vocals or through new vocal arrangements, the song structures of rock and roll. And then remained in the techno scene long enough to see that there was tech house and French house and all this stuff. But all this stuff, a lot of it right about then, about 2000, 2001, 2002, everything started to go retro. And you'd see the like old school hardcore nights. We're already talking about old school hardcore nights. I thought this was the music of the future, and we're already going back to the old school. If you look at hardcore techno, GABA techno, the evolution it got faster and faster and faster and faster. Same thing happened to death metal. It went faster and faster and faster until the death metal people started saying, you know why metalcore happened? This is why metalcore happened. Metalcore is death metal, would evolve to the sound and change of death metal where it became so fast that almost human beings couldn't play it anymore. Then they broke it down and incorporated hardcore style breakdowns. Why? Because they needed to slow down because they couldn't go faster anymore. Same thing happened with GABA techno. They started doing these old school hardcore, which was just taking the beat that had eventually risen up to 250 BPM and knocked it down back to 130, which is basically just turning into old school rave house. And now there is nothing. There is no new evolution in metal. There is none. I have taken the time. People say I'm an angry old man and I'm listening to stuff. Listen, what happened to humans that people that used to evolve and change music from generation to generation is now what has been the latest online music fascination that occurred with this internet generation? It's this vaporwave stuff, which all it does is a retro sound of the late 80s, early 90s. That's what it is. And that's 10 years old. And hypnagogic pop. Hypnagogic pop is just psychedelic rock and roll music made with newer technology. That's all it is. And 20-year nostalgia loop. What's the highlight of the beginning of hypnagogic pop? 2010. Okay, 20 to 30-year nostalgia loop. You go back from 2010, 2000, 1990 for 20 years. 1980 for 30 years. But if you go back from 1990, then what does that get you to? That gets you to the jangle pop of alternative rock heyday. And so these kids have better effects now. The kids back in the day, like Slow Dive and My Bloody Valentine, a distortion pedal, a reverb rack unit, and a delay. If you were lucky. Chorus, whoa. You know what I mean? Phaser, holy shit. Now the kids have fucking these amazing pedals that do blah, 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 blah. Turn the music into liquid noodles, massaging your weed-enabled brain Of course it sounds fucking amazing. But if you strip out all the effects, it's still a fucking dun 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 dun. My mom kicked me out of the house. I said, wow, it's really tough in 2010. Where am I going now? Well, I don't know. Will you come with me then? You know what I mean? Fucking pop, song structure, rock and roll bullshit you can do in your fucking sleep. It's like the fucking blues. And then you put a ton of fucking effects on it to go, oh, it's an evolution in sound called Hitting the Gog Pop. No, it's not. It's psychedelic music on a 40-year nostalgia loop. Shut up. There's nothing new. If you go back in the day and you listen to Yes, his first record, and you realize that friggin' Meet the Beatles came out essentially 10 years, 5 years before it, you can see changes and transformations and how fast they used to occur. Remember, you get from Iron Maiden, gonna get you. You get from there to friggin' Master of Puppets in 6 years. 6 fucking years. Where have we gotten in the last 6 years? Vaporwave used to be based on sample-based music. Then it changes and transforms. And oh my God, it's a new evolution. These guys are no longer using samples anymore. They're recreating, they're doing their own beats. Okay, fantastic. And they're using this amazing technology of today to create stuff that sounds like, wow, this sounds like it could have come out in 1987. What the fuck are you doing making music that sounds like you came out in 1987? Shit that came out in 1987 sounds like it came out in 1987 because it came out in 1987. It's 2021. We have records from 1987. There's no need to recreate it. You want to get a little piece of it, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but everything now with the kids. It's retro this, brutal old school that. And to say, get the kids on my lawn, I care about these kids. So I'm saying these fucking kids. What the fuck are you doing? You can do anything with these computers. You can do anything with these amazing effects. Why the fuck are you still making this shit? You want to tell people how fantastic the shit from 1991 is? Create a fucking blog post. Oh man, you should check out this record from 1991. It's a total fucking gas. It sounds like the fucking mall. And I like Mallsoft, and I like Vaporwave. But I'm telling you, folks, there's something wrong in Bismarck. Because I wouldn't be incensed if Vaporwave was amongst the flavors. If retro rockabilly was one of the flavors available. Right? It'd be one thing. But what's the totality? And again, I come back to my central point. We used to have new genres of electronic music every friggin' turn of the screw. And then people are going to say, oh, it's still going on. No, it's this endlessly retitling of every time a music producer produces a sound that's even slightly distinguishable or characterizable as somehow different from another electronic production, they want to create a new genre from it. No. And what I think I think that occurs because people subconsciously know that there's something wrong. They know that there should be new genres. So every time a grindcore, like what's porno grind? It's an evolution of grindcore music. No, it's not. It's grindcore music with a pornographic fixation. Pornographic album cover art, pornographic title. But it sounds exactly like grindcore that's political. You'd have to like get into the lyric sheet and look at the album cover and be like, oh, it's a black and white photo of a cop beating up a black guy. That must be political. Oh, it's a black guy having sex with a white chick in the ass. Oh, I guess it's fucking porno grind. Create these endless new titles. It's insane old school carcass worship. Meanwhile, FYN, in case you're curious, old school pure carcass worship sounds exactly like old school pestilence worship. And where's the new types of metal? It's pirate metal. Meanwhile, hello, Ailstorm. There was a band from back in the day. What the fuck were they called? They were fucking like they were like Buccaneer pirate metal guys back in like 91, 89. I remember there's this one song, Conquistadors, running for war. Da 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 da. The fuck. And I'm still stuck on Britney Spears over here. And then I'll go through the live chat and you guys will respond to my comments variously, and then that'll be the show. There we go. Where was I? Hold on, no. I don't care about dead air. Everybody deserves dead air. And I beg, I swear to sweet Jesus, please let a kid come into the live chat and make a comment, or let somebody say why I'm wrong and we can have a fucking debate. No one has ever fucking proved me wrong on these points. Who are these guys? Hold on, bear with me. Is it Sieges? Seduce? Now there was a band. Wasn't Scanner. Was it Sanctuary? No. I'm lost. Oh, man. Running Wild. No. Was it? Yes. Running Wild. Here's the track. Ailstorm Could Kiss My Ass. Ailstorm ripped off 20-year nostalgia loop. This song is from 1988. 98, 2008. Kiss My Ass, Ailstorm. Way to go. Wait, no, I'm wrong. 88 to 98. No, I'm right. Okay, sorry. Yelling at everybody. Anyway, fucking Conquistadors. Eventually, they fucking show up. They show up and start killing Indians. That was an achievement. Fuck everything. Oh, you bastards. Anyway, I'm right, and you know what I mean? It's all awesome. And we may have just done everything. You know, like I said, this is just the guy on the sandwich board with the around his neck saying the end of the world is nigh. You can laugh at him in 1988. You can laugh at him in 1975. But one of these days, the comet's going to hit, and the guy's going to be right. Drink some water here. The viewership is up, I think, probably because I covered Simon Parks yesterday. That's the secret. Just once a week, we're gonna cover Simon Parks. Or meanwhile, there's 10,000 people supposedly watching Wano Saban talk to Kerry Cassidy right now. Nino Pia 22 says, "What's your YouTube channel?" C.W.Chanter is my name. It's not dots, it's a period, right? CW Chanter. C.W.Chanter. That's my YouTube channel. Oh my God, how far back am I? Jesus Christ. I'm at 547 in the live chat. And it's 6:30. Jesus. That's it. We'll only be able to achieve one thing, and that'll be getting to the end of this live chat. Lenny B is here. How you doing, Lenny B? Hello to Bragg Magic. Hello to Charlie Williamson. Am I banned? No, we see you. I see you. Jenny Quick is here. Good evening, CW. Good evening to you, Jenny. Oh shit! We got someone gave a live chat donation. There we go. Hey, super chat. ADDG. The live chat jumped on me. We'll have to go back in time. ADDG. If I use alien technology to create a hybrid clone of you and Mendoza, Will that beautiful bearded Jerry curled baby not be a new human? No. Well, it depends on the alien technology you use and how you hybridize us. It wouldn't be. I mean, it would be a new human in the. Now, this is like the thing. This actually is pertinent because when I say hashtag no new music, a lot of people want to respond and say, "What are you talking about?" There are people making music today. I made a beat today, and it's like, yes, we're not talking about the fact that you can't create quote unquote technically new music. It's that because everything's been done, everything ends up becoming defined as a derivative work, right? So it would be a new human in the sense that any baby born is technically a new human. But it's not a new human in the sense it's not a new species, right? You know what I mean? The baby has two daddies. But thank you. God bless you. God bless you for your super chat donation. Now is as good a time as any. Having received the first super chat of the night, now is as good a time as any to remind people that I got sued for having the audacity of saying that certain Buanon supporters were Buanon supporters, and that, like many of their other unsubstantiated claims, was ridiculous. For having done and undertaken that job, I have over $15,000 in attorney's fees, and the case is still ongoing. So if you have it within your ability to support either in the form of a super chat donation or by taking a look and joining my Patreon, link in the description box below, it would be appreciated. But it is known and understood that, number one, not everyone cares enough to give, and that's fine. Your view is your view. God bless you for coming along. But if you do care enough, that's why the financial support is appreciated. Now, I hate to e-bag, but with over $15,000 in attorney's fees, I'm motivated. I got kids. I have to e-bag. It's unfortunate, but at this point, it's just something that I accept, but I only do it once per episode, so it's just been done. So there you go. V is here saying, howdy, Galactic. And so, oh shit, it jumped to 6:15, which means I lost a half hour of commentary. I hope I didn't miss any super chat donations. Yikes. Zikafoos 2020 says, go faster, lightning bolt. Melissa will just paint it red, right? Stephen Ronan says, I will put it on my channel and get 1,600 extra eyes on it, and I'll share it on all the groups on Facebook. Meanwhile, does he ask me to share my music? No. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Galactic Dude Man says hi. Omniville sound system. Is that supposed to be is that new music that you're recommending to me? Wingnuts, have you heard Animals as Leaders? I don't know if I have, but let's see. Oh God, progressive. Oh no, I know these guys. Yeah, this is not new. I understand that this guy is a guitar hero, but you have to understand that even the notion of guitar heroes, first of all, not to bring race into it, but you have to understand. So if they started off in 2007, okay, it's the same thing. Like I tell people all the time, like I don't rank Death Grips. I don't think Death Grips are actually that good. I think that the reason that Death Grips is successful is because they're doing a retro nostalgia thing. People don't understand because people don't know their history. But when Death Grips come out and do this, they're just recapitulating industrial music. They're also recapitulating a band that came out way before them, like obviously on the 20-year nostalgia loop, called Oxbow. Everything from the black lead singer freaking out over noise-based live drums, noise, techno sounds incorporated, all this stuff. It's all been done. It just sounds new to new generations of kids, but that it doesn't make it new. So I have heard this band, and it's not that I think that they make bad music, but this is this thing, gent, this DJENT. This gent is a subgenre of progressive metal. Its distinctive sound is a high gain, distorted, palm muted, low pitched guitar sound. That's death metal. They call it gent and act like it's something fucking new. I've heard Meshuggah when it first came out. I've heard Machine Head when they first came out. I've heard these bands as they evolved, and I know why they put a new title on it. They put a title on it to distinguish it from other death metal, to make it sound like it was something new. It's not. And I've heard Animals as leaders. Can tell you that I have heard them, and I rate them as being what they are. But this notion is of a progressive metal band coming out in 2007 as being new music. Let's do the hashtag, the 20-year nostalgia loop for them. 2007, 1997, 1987. Progressive metal was already an established form, even within the realm of 87. That's when you're getting to the realm of technical death metal. And no offense, not to bring race into it as well, but 87, a band called Living Colour. Vernon Reid, new guitar hero. He's the next coming of Jimi Hendrix. Why are you saying he's the next coming of Jimi Hendrix and not Jimmy Page? Well, we're certainly not saying that because he's black, but you're saying it because he's black. It's, you know what I mean? And I know this guy he's one of these guys that plays like the 22 string guitar or whatever. And God bless these guys. It's not that I'm saying that they're making crappy music. I'm just saying that this is not new music. It's not. You have to realize that if you go back to 1987, you're also getting the beginning of the career of a guy called Buckethead. So there's the Animals as leaders. God bless Jasmine Emmerich. I see Jasmine Emmerich has given a $10 donation on Super Chat as well. And it's not that I'm saying that these guys are making bad music. Wingnut says some of the gent stuff was a bit innovative. So, but even look at the language that you're saying, a bit innovative. And we're talking about gent. Now, if we're going to try and say that gent was an innovation, like if I say to somebody, thrash metal was an innovation upon the previous work of classic metal bands like Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and Iron Maiden, there is no debate. But what did gent evolve off of? And to what degree was it really an evolution? And think about the cultural impact of Metallica's Master of Puppets. And what is the Meshuggah record that people are going to say? Because Meshuggah is the gent thing, right? Am I off base? Am I so elderly? Here we go. Where did I get the this up? Oh, and then here's we go. And then I think Zikafus, I don't know if you're mentioning Lightning Bolt as the band, or Lightning Bolt as in if you paint the lightning bolt on the record on the side of the car, it'll go faster, or flames like orcs. You know what I mean? In Warhammer 40K, I know my shit, right? Red makes it go faster. But if you're talking about the band Lightning Bolt, that created quite a stir, and that whole Providence, Rhode Island explosion, that they started getting big around the same time that Wolf Eyes started getting big. Then, and what is Lightning Bolt? Lightning Bolt, if you go 20 years before Lightning Bolt, you get to a Japanese group called Ruins. Lightning Bolt essentially are a Ruins cover band. Who are the Ruins? They were a free improv kind of unit with some pre-scripted parts. It was a bass and drums duo, and they would play with the effects and the noises. Lightning Bolt essentially is a Ruins cover band. They are, but no one knows about the Ruins. It's the same thing with Wolf Eyes. a lot of the first Wolf Eyes records I listened to, and I heard it, I said, oh my God, they're doing retro Throbbing Gristle. It's fucking and then the kids go fucking, oh my God, this fucking noise music. All the kids are fucking high, by the way. They're going, oh man, did you hear the new Wolf Eye 7-inch? Fuck you. I'm not saying that, and that shit's intriguing. I have a fucking Monotron hanging out here because I like that shit. I like Throbbing Gristle. I like White House. I like Wolf Eyes. I like Lightning Bolt. But when they start acting like these guys are fucking doing something other than making music according to rules that were established, it's not experimental music. You know what's going to happen. If you play tape loops through a delay pedal, through a distortion pedal, through another distortion pedal, through another delay pedal, you might not be able to predict what specific sounds are going to come out, but you know it's going to sound like something fucking fucked up. And you know if the fucking audience and or you are high on marijuana, it's going to sound like the second coming of Christ. That's how it works. But God bless you. Boredoms, an amazing group from Japan that started off in the late 70s. And it's as we go forward through time that this shit turns into static repeat. And it's no mistake. And you want to talk about innovation, even with the Boredoms. When I listened to the Boredoms and I saw the Boredoms evolve in real time, I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. This is amazing. But then as I got older, and then I started to learn about predecessor music ensembles and stuff that came before, I filled in and realized that a lot of what the Boredoms had actually been doing had been done before. From the freak scene stuff of like the first Amandul type records, or the first stuff that was going on with Gong. And then it's no mistake that exactly in the same way that a lot of those, look at Tangerine Dream's electronic meditations versus Tangerine Dream's Miracle Mile, the soundtrack work, or the soundtrack to Risky Business. If you see that, then all of a sudden Boredom's evolution from a noise Japanese cut up experimental noise punk thing, which had its antecedents, had its predecessors. Sorry. To all of a sudden, when they were going over time, to they evolved into a hypnotic trance-based drum ensemble. Look at the bands from the krautrock bands from the 1970s, and a lot of them evolved the exact same way. Look at Throbbing Gristle and Psychic TV and Chris and Cozy and Coil themselves. Started off essentially as noise musicians, then eventually basically turned into fucking techno acts. You know? Diener Hawkins, Reptilian Hunter. It's good to see you in the live chat. I know sometimes you comment, and it's so interesting. I'm not talking about a David Icke centered thing, but there you go. Such an interesting point, CW. I'm no musical expert, but the retro regurgitation cycle is so real. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing. Thank you. There you go. I'll never be famous. Galactic Dude Man says, I fear CW will be famous post posthumously. I wish for it not to be, but better late than never at all. I don't think I'll ever be famous. Damian Spencer. That's why I reverted back to classic rock. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you. Here you go. Absolutely, absolutely. Zickafoos 2020. You get Vaporwave from James Ferraro and Onatrix Point Never. And those records came out in 2010. Their first records, right? 20-year nostalgia loop, 2010, 2000, 1990. What's the sound of Vaporwave, essentially? Now, I want to also make this point. If you talk about hip hop music and sampling and so-called sampadelic music, because that's what a lot of people try to justify vaporwave as, you have to understand that those things, those terms were attached to music that were so transformative. When the hip hop guys like the Bomb Squad or Jay Dilla or whatever, when these guys were taking beats and flipping them, the transformations and changes that they would do to these sounds, they were turning it into something else. Now you take, people used to take drums, samples, from, old school easy listening records and then turn them into a hip hop beat. And now what are they doing? They're getting a sample CD of drum and bass breaks pre-cut, and they're using that to make more drum and bass music. Or they're taking huge samples from classic easy listening, soft jazz music of the mid 1990s and turning it into soft jazz music from the 1990s. What is the transformation? What is the change? What is the statement? Sampling used to be about taking something old and turning it into something new. Now it's just presented as is. I am telling you, without a doubt, there are vaporwave releases up on Bandcamp that are wholesale chunks of catalog music from the 1990s. Just taken and presented as is. I want to say fuck you to Prag Magic and Stephen Ronan, who are networking in my fucking live chat. Like I said, Stephen Ronan, I take an exceptional amount of time to address you and talk to you and communicate on you. And here you are offering to promote another content creator, and you guys are having a fucking conversation about it. You know what I mean? No offense. That's the kind of shit that could piss a guy off. But God bless you. God bless you. Then I'm going to respond to this comment. Did you love Whitney? Absolutely, I loved Whitney. Whitney Houston. Well, I didn't love every single track that she did. There were some of her tracks to this day that are amazing. I go, and it goes as late as "It's Not Right, but It's Okay." You know what I mean? That thing's a monster. Zickafoos 2020 says James Ferraro's new record Terminus is pretty good. I have no doubt. I'm not saying that none of these people are talented. A lot of them absolutely are. Here's Victor Surge. CW, this is a critique of our economic system. Absolutely it is as well. Absolutely it is as well. You cannot get here but for the being in the end state of late capitalism. That's part of how we got here. Because everything is tied to this capitalist game, which is why everything gets reduced into a repetition. Because an artist dare not try to come out with something new. What the? Come on! Now I got to deal with my fucking mom. Hold on. Am I unmuted? I'm unmuted. V, some artists don't fit in the loop in their time and then become popular when the loop recognizes them. Blondie is one, Elliott Smith is another. Yeah, with every particular instance, you're going to have different movings and transformations and different things happening that you're going to have to, rejigger and, account for. So for each particular artist, so like if we were to talk about Blondie or Elliott Smith, if we were to talk about them, um, a lot of it comes down to, going through their particular discographies and seeing transformations and changes in their material and how their material was accepted. So, in regards to a guy like Elliott Smith, where he comes out and how he came out at the time that he did, a lot of it I'm going to tie to the sort of the evolution of the resurgence of the quote unquote like kind of alternative singer songwriter. And if you look at that, and on the 20-year loop for him is that I'm going to find him kind of looping back to guys like, Elvis Costello and even, mid-era, Tom Waits. Not that he sounds like them particularly, but the attraction to a singer-songwriter, per se. But like I said, if you were going to try and look at any of these people's actual things, we would analyze. It would be best served if we analyzed these artists, particularly, and I hate to go back to this, but I'm going to do this. If people want to fucking network, don't network in my live chat. You know what I mean? It's so fucking fundamentally disrespectful that I don't know, what to say. It's like showing up at another person. The people do this, and they do this, and it's like trashy. Like people will come up to, go to somebody's party and be like, we should get out of here. Let's plan, or let's make phone calls to see if we can get another party or get to another party. Like, you know what I mean? Just like take it out. Like if you've decided that my party is so fucking lame, just go outside and then, then make your decision to go to another party. Blondie, when we go back to Blondie, a lot of that is they are so far back, in the 70s, that a lot of the 20-year nostalgia loop and 40-year nostalgia loop that I talk about, really didn't become endemic. There might have been instances of it, and it might have been becoming prevalent, but it was really at the kind of as the 80s evolved that it really ossified and turned into a real problem, which is why then when you get to the 2000s, they're looking back naturally, because the pattern of going back and mining things and being retro nostalgic about things had already evolved and become a sweet science by that point. When the 2000s are looking back at the 80s that were already starting the process of mining the past and just being retro oriented, that's when things, get, crazy. So if we go back to, like the arguments that I'm making about, animals as leaders or bright eyes or what wolf eyes or anything like this, you know what I mean? Or Wolf Mother or Blur, whatever, as we go further and further back in time, the comments and the statements, they're it might be present in aspects of the evolution of progressive rock or some aspects of the Ramones. Like I say, the 20-year nostalgia loop. If you go to a band like the Ramones, a lot of what the different players of the CBGB's original punk scene all were kind of moving through towards a different direction, drawing from the past. So you have talking heads that are basically starting what's going to be turned into like art rock, alternative rock, them and television. You have the Ramones that are basically laying the blueprint for punk rock, being a kind of a retro throwback to the stripped down sounds of early rock and roll. And then you have a group like Blondie that'll eventually turn into a disco band, essentially, right? And there's all sorts of things that, cross commentary. If we talk about a late era capitalism, we could talk about the notion that the amount of, you want to talk about a 20-year nostalgia loop. If you go to 1979, 1980, 1981, you're going to have not only Blondie, but you're also going to have like Eric Clapton had a hit song. Eric Clapton covered Bob Marley's I Shot the Sheriff. A.B., Bob Marley's version of I Shot the Sheriff with Eric Clapton's I Shot the Sheriff, and ask yourself which one should have been a bigger hit. Eric Clapton one was the bigger hit. Same thing with Blondie, who did The Tide is High, and they did all sorts of disco and reggae moves. Blondie charted way higher than the original black reggae artists that they were covering, or certainly the Latin and African disco pioneers, right? And if you go back in the 20-year nostalgia loop from those moves of those white artists literally covering black music and achieving greater success, if you go 20 years prior to those moves from the 80, 79, 80, 81, where do you get to? 59, 60, 61. Sounds like old school rock and roll to me. But people can have different views and opinions on different bands, and we would have to go back and have different discussions about it. Stephanie Jackson says, hello, CW. Hello to here. How did we get here from the question about Britney Spears? I don't know, and I'm responding to your comment from 622 literally 30 minutes later, and therefore I don't know what original comments we came from. Post 9 says underground dance music dies a death with pop pop music replicates it. Dance music is dead. I definitely think that's the case. That's why you get to what it now. Well, it's also a lot of it has to do with it's not only the cultural appropriation that happens and the around the music, it's also what happens to the culture. So when I got out of the rave scene in 2000, between 2000 and 2002, by 2002, I had probably gone to my last party. It was right then that the move from rave and underground rave culture to these like Electric Daisy Carnival and Coachella type EDM things, and these DJs primarily being stationed out of like Las Vegas big nightclubs, and the night turning into a total nightclub scene. You know, a lot of it, that's like the culture changed and died. You know what I mean? There were aspects of old school underground rave culture, both in the United States as well as in Europe and England, that was, you know, very similar. If it was on a nostalgia loop, it was still a nostalgia loop to a halcyon time of maybe real good community-based grassroots organization and underground culture making. But once it goes, you know, overground, and then all of a sudden, you know, Steve Aoki is selling you, you know, a cell phone, or, you know, it's, you know, Sandstorm 24 hours a day, you know, in various different YouTube videos. You know, it's like, where are we going? Also, if the other thing if we're going to be talking about capitalism in this music, you know, people need to know and understand that a lot of what I'm talking about is trying to go against and trying to stop people, you know, calling things musical genius moves when it's not musical genius in any way, shape, or form. You know, it sullies the notion of what, you know, musical genius is. And I'm not even trying to go, you know, back to classical music or act like Beethoven was real and Aphex Twin is not. But, you know, people need to know, understand is that a lot of people, like, you know, go crazy. Like, this used to happen all the time. I would go to a party and I'd see what was known as a live PA or live public, you know, they used to call them live PAs. And that's when the guy or gal didn't just spin records as a DJ, but actually brought their equipment down to the friggin' rave and played kind of live, you know what I mean? And there were some great ones that I saw that were in great groups that I saw that were amazing. Electric Sky Church, Prototype 909, The Orb, who I'd seen a million times. But there were times when you'd see like smaller artists, like people that you knew, and the kids would be going crazy, like, oh my God, he's a fucking genius. And I'd be like, no, he's got a fucking MC303 and he just got the MC505. He's got them synced via MIDI, and it's, you know, a lot of that shit was presets. Sorry to have, you know, you're a fucking hater, man. Yeah, no, I get I'm a hater. What else is new? So just in case you're curious, I was a hater back in 1990, in 2001 as well. Spooky says, if there's no new music, he's angry at nothing. No, because I'm not angry at the no new music. I'm angry at the culture. Well, here's this. Stephen Ronan says, we still have amazing music just because it's not like industrial sweat goth. What is the prob CW? Check Prag's music out and give your opinion. Well, I'll never give the opinion to a person of a person's music that I know. But I'll tell you, like, I've seen enough of what I've seen enough pictures of the guy with an acoustic guitar to know that there's some sort of, singer songwriter going on there, which I'll say, he's either doing it well or he's sucking at it. And either way, I would keep my mouth shut because I'll be supportive of people, but I would never give my opinion or critique, especially not in public. If he asked me, like, what do you think about this? I guarantee I probably not, based on his age, I can tell you, and his hat selection, I'm probably not going to think that it's that great, but that's whatever. And to say that we still have amazing music, I never said that. I've said over and over again, and I'm really kind of getting pissed off at you. I really am. This might not be a relationship worth pursuing because I don't know how many fucking times I've said that I like vaporwave, that I think some of this music is great, that I'm able to make that I've made the distinction tirelessly over and over again between critiquing something on a cultural level or at an editorial level and saying and dismissing it all as valueless or that people should stop doing it. I've dealt with all these allegations that I'm saying, what am I saying to the kids? Don't make music. No, that's not what I'm saying or what we're talking about at all. And it's one thing if a new person comes in and says, hey man, I just joined the stream. What are you talking about? Hashtag new music. There's new music all over the place. If a person comes in out of the cold and isn't being aware of what things I've said in the past, it's one thing. But I have to say, you're either being provocative to me or you're being obtuse and not paying attention to what I'm saying, or I don't know what to say. Rusted shut. Holy shit. Zikafoos 2020. Rusted shut. Rusted shut. One of the leaders of Rusted Shut threatened to shoot me. If I'm lying, I'm dying. If you're talking about the Houston-based noise band, Rusted Shut, I played a show with Rusted Shut. Okay? I played a show with Rusted Shut, and the dude threatened to shoot me. I forget. He was like the main guy. Threatened to shoot. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I hope you're talking about Rusted Shut. The dude threatened. I don't think he was like dead serious. It's not like I never went back to Houston, but he did. He told me he'd shoot me. So here's the story. Okay, so check this out. And it actually turned into a running joke with me and a friend. Here we go. So here's the Rusted Shut story. So we're playing this all-day noise festival at a place called Super Happy Fun House or Super Happy Fun Times. And it's being organized by Richard Ramirez from Werewolf Jerusalem. Okay. And it was like day 2. Oh, it was like, no, there was like the first day was this, it was like 2 days of like pure, it was supposed to be pure harsh noise wall. That's where my group, my ensemble played. And then there was going to be a second night that was going to be more open. Okay, so we're there, and there's very little organizational structure. But what ended up happening was the noise music scene at that point. This is going back to like 2008, 2009. The noise music scene was really polarized, and there was 2 basic communities. And I see these fucking comments, and I swear to fucking shit, today is the day I'm going to fucking start banning people. Today is the day where I'm going to say, you want to laugh at my expense? You want to fucking, a piece of me? You want to pick at me? Go fucking have fun somewhere fucking else. As I'm talking about the hold on. As I'm talking about fucking Rusted Shut threatening to shoot me. Hold on. Why is this bag wet? That's what she said. What the fuck is going on here? Anyway. So, hold on. See if I can take a drink of water without killing myself again. Outlook doesn't look so good. Okay. So back 2008, 2009, the noise music scene was highly polarized. I don't know if this was true anywhere else, but it was definitely true in the United States. And the two worlds were basically what was known as hippie noise. Hair Police, Wolf Eyes, basically kind of like, and a lot of it also would, that scene would also involve like the digital noise crew, the people that were using laptops, the people that were very artsy, artistic, the university students, and that would be opposed to the kind of the harsh noise or power power electronics type of guys who thought that the noise had to be extreme. One group of people would be like, can we talk about gender bias in music, and can we have a more inclusive policy, or we don't, why does every album cover have to have like a woman being abused on it or whatever? This is like the hippie digital intellectual set. And the other guys who were like, noise music, man, if you come to the show and you play that hippie noise shit, I'm going to beat you up. It was crazy. And Rusted Shut, philosophically, were kind of very much of like the extreme kind of noise point of view. Now, I don't know if I just caught this guy on the worst night of his life or what, but here's how it went down. So Rusted Shut are going to play later in the night. Me and a friend were going to play as well, a second set, later in the night. And in the meantime, there was one of these like art house guys setting up, and he had this huge elaborate setup that involved a laptop computer, I think like a saxophone, and like 30, like honestly, like at least 10 old school cathode ray tube TVs. So it took him a while to set up. and he was setting up and he was going through, he was having technical problems because he had, you know, it was a whole thing. Like he would play the saxophone, the computer would cut it up, and then they would create patterns on the TVs. Like that essentially, I believe, I'm not a technical guy. He had like an Arduino set up, like it was a thing, right? And he had like a little group of him of about like, you know, maybe everyone who comes to the noise show, either, you know, it's usually the old joke about noise shows is if there's 30 bands playing, there's going to be 30 people in the audience because everyone's going to stick around for everyone else's set. And then that's the fucking way it goes because everyone's got a fucking project, right? Maybe 32 people because two dudes actually have girlfriends, right? Anyway. So this guy's setting up, and one of the guys from Rusted Shut, who I understand, you know, is very, you know, very blue collar kind of guy. And he was like, just fucking play. Fuck the TVs. Just fucking play noise music, man, or whatever he did. And one of the girls that was with Mr. Cathoid Ray TV Tube set up university student, PhD, doctorate candidate guys was like, you know, basically mouthed off at the guy from Rusted Shut, was basically like, he's got plenty of time to set up his set. He's got it. It's an whole thing, or whatever she said. And the dude from Rusted Shut was basically glared at her, was like, you know, like he just like started going off. So the guy from Super Happy Fun Times, who was like, I think the whole deal with Super Happy Fun Times was that they were an art space, a kind of a squat, a music performance space, and also in the back, they were growing salvia, right? So he's a total hippie, and he's trying to break it, and like, and I make this, and this has happens to me all my life. I'm dumb. I see a bad situation, so I decide to get involved, right? And try and cool things out a little. Doesn't work well. Rusted Shut eventually go on. And the end result is that Rusted Shut, especially at least the guy, Mr. Rusted Shut, is not happy. I surmise is not happy with his performance or the way that the sound was for his group or whatever. So they're breaking down. He comes barreling out of the place, and I'm there with a bunch of friends, 4 or 5 of us. And he's complaining, he's kvetching about the sound and fucking being rushed on, whatever the fuck the case is. And I said to him, I was like, oh, you know, like, you know, for what it's worth, you know, so I have a friend who makes fun of me, and it's called Hey Brother. So this friend to this day, well, occasionally, will be like, whenever I'm trying to appease some monster, they'll be like, hey brother, because apparently when, you know, I was like, hey brother, for what it's worth, man, I thought you did a pretty good set. I thought the sound's pretty okay, or whatever. They make fun of me, whatever. So the guy turns on us, right? And he says, fuck you. And if I ever see any of you motherfuckers in Houston again, and he points right at me, and he goes, I'm going to fucking shoot you. And I was like, and that's when I did, hey brother. That's like, well, I was like, hey brother, for what it's worth, man, I thought it was a pretty good set, or whatever the case may be. So that's my Rusted Shut story. And this is a story that they're talking about Rusted Shut. You're talking about Wolf Eyes. That story goes back to 2008 or 9. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, wait. It's 2021. I'm looking at the 12 on the date. 8, 9, 10. That's like 14 years ago. Crazy mixed up shit. Post 9 says G.G. Allen was kind of original, not musically, though. Well, the only thing I would say about that is that you could then get into like performance art. Well, let's not go there. Mario Heat says, you're wrong. There is new music. Don't tell me about it. Show me it. Show me it. You know what I mean? Stephen Ronan says, why so angry, CW? I have explained. If we're talking about the no new music thing, I think I've explained. And if we're talking about, personality-wise and personally, I've articulated that as well. So that's the thing. It's like, Stephen, like, honestly, like, either I just want, you know what I mean? Hopefully I don't have a terrible snot situation. We'll just deal with it. Well, there's also, I have to concede that a lot of this might have to do with the fact that there's a radical disconnect between when I'm making statements and what I'm responding to, and what's going on in the live chat. But people could be more supportive of me. Like, I don't think that people take into consideration when they're in the live chat that you might be in an isolated part of the world and you're interacting with me, you're interacting with the live chat, and you know what I mean? To you, you see it as, oh, I'm making a comment, or you know what I mean, or I'm pushing back, or I'm teasing him, or he's so easy to piss off. Like, if someone's like really easy to get under their skin and piss them off, there's like two different things you can do. One of them is you can keep on needling them to get them to explode, or to trick them, or to get them upset. The other thing is you can leave them alone. The problem that I sometimes have with the live chat is that I don't think you guys understand that a lot of this can come off on my end as people ganging up on me. And what's really surreal about it is that there seems to be this kind of weird like rule that the more you know me, the more free you feel to really try and get me going. But at the same time that I say that, I know that the more that I know somebody, the more oftentimes that I'll say, make critiques or criticisms about their intelligence or whatever. So we'll just it is what it is. WandaVision, I never said that I didn't enjoy WandaVision. That would never piss me off. Yes, Zerdos 85 XYX. We can see what you're doing it. Oddwalla 88. Check it. Well, hold on. Here's what we can do. Because I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I do want to prove to people that I'm willing to expose myself to new music. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put on these headphones, which is less than ideal. And I'm going to center myself because I don't want to. The risk is that I'm going to just be so incensed that I'm going to automatically say that something is not new or original or good. So I think this is Walla 88. What the official video? Okay, see now this is not original. This is fine and it's weird and experimental, but the point that they're doing this in 2015, that you have to realize that it was on the 20-year nostalgia loop when I know I'm probably screaming out because I got this stuff going on in my head. Um this is just revolution number 9 by the Beatles. You know what I mean? And when you have to understand that when hold on, let me pause this or turn this down because I know that I'm screaming. And this just is because they're chicks. If these chicks looked like me, this thing, how many hits does this thing have? 23,147 views, January 30th, 2015. Now, I hope I don't get accused of being sexist, but I'm going to tell you something. Here's the dirty little secret. There's so much music that's made, if made by attractive females, gets 23,000 views. If I made this piece, which I could make this piece in my sleep in front of you now. This is pseudo tape loop experimentation using computers. God bless them. But you have to realize that when John Lennon and Yoko Ono did Revolution Number 9, they were basically doing a ripoff of stuff that Stockhausen and John Cage were doing 20 years earlier. And this is just, I mean, and I got to tell you something. I have been at so many squaw parties where I've had to listen to this shit. And these girls are hot. And they got 23,147 views. If they looked like me, and fucking Genocide, it would be 23 views. God bless them. I'll definitely check them out again. But yeah, these guys, this is what I'm talking about. People are going to think that that's amazing or original or new. No, 20 years go back, 2015, 2005, 1995. I'm telling you, people playing with their modular synth patches goes back near over 60 years. Like Ron Geeson had this record. What was it? The Human Body, I think it was called. Or now someone's gonna fucking send me a fax. God bless you. Thanks, Zikafus 2020. You sent me a link. You sent me a name. I checked it out. I'm telling you, if you think that that's original, I'm not saying that you do think that that's original, and it's not that I'm saying that it's not worth listening to, and it's not that I'm saying that it's not interesting, but what it actually is an art form. It's an example of an art form that's been going on for 40, 60 years. I mean, there were guys doing stuff like that in 1968, 69. Now I'm getting a fucking fax. Oh, I missed my super chat. Okay. No, I did. I missed dinner. I admit it. I admit it. No, thank you so much. Wonderful. I'll tell you. Listen. So this is. Can I read it? Is that you guys gonna mind? But I did miss super chats from Sarah and Zikafus. That matters. Hold on. I'm a human boy with feelings just like you. What did I do? How do I go back? I think the chat ahead of me or behind me? And I think that there's things that I'm missing that I don't see that doesn't get aggregated. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, so Jasmine Emmerich is reading out, so I'll read it out. So I get a fax from Jasmine and V. I think it's sent by Jasmine. It says, "Hey CW, we know it's difficult to broadcast around dinner time. Can we send a pizza to your office? Do you have a local pizzeria you prefer? By the way, you missed super chats from Sarath and Zikafoos. I apologize. Zikafoos and Sarath, I apologize for missing your super chat. I don't know how I can see it after the fact. Maybe if I do this, hold on. If I go to this, maybe if I can go to my channel, like YouTube Studio. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, but I apologize. Folks, if you wanted, if people wanted to do me a favor, what they could do is that if they really loved me, is they could, if they see that, yada, yada, sis, boom, ba, if they see that I've missed the super chat, if they could highlight that and like, I don't know, like not like just take the text and put it back and say, this guy sent this message. Oh my God. I'm so behind the live chat. There you go. No. Have you heard of Yellow Card? Oh my God. Now you're being provocative. Stephen Ronan, will you play Prague's song he done for the virtual online thing last year? I would play it for myself. What do you think I'm going to do to Prague Magic? I know him. I would. Do you think I'm going to play his song and be like, and now here's Prague Magic trying to do the whole Lou Barlow, I've got an acoustic guitar, but I'm, not confident. Whatever. I'm not going to critique a person's music. Probably even if they wanted me to. Zikafoos 2020 says Oddwalla 88 is a good girl group. They're good, but it is what it is. No, I see you, Stephen. I see you asking, but I've already. It's one thing. There's a time when I say something and I know that I'm behind the live chat, but there's a certain point when I know I've said something 3 or 4 times that I say to myself, "There's no way in hell you could still not know that I've discussed this or that I've addressed this." Spooky thoughts on the latest Tool album. It sucked. You know what I mean? It's it is what it is. You do something for long enough, eventually you're going to create the bonerific record. They had their first 2 records, Undertow and Opiate, were pretty much perfect from start to finish. And that was the last time that happened. Lateralis and the other stuff, then they turned into, they had what I call Dio disease, which is every record has got 2 or 3 monster life-changing tracks on that thing. 2 or 3 monster life-changing tracks on that thing, and the rest are throwaways. Undertale was amazing. Anima was pretty good. No, let me see. I'm trying to think if I could see the actual tracks on it. Yeah, this is like where they peaked, was like Anima. Stinkfist, Eulogy, Useful 46-2. A lot of this stuff was great. Well, a lot of this stuff was just, then there was some stuff on there that was just thrown on there. But that's a great record, right? But then you get to Lateralis, where you have The Grudge was great. Parabola, which is interesting things, but a lot of these songs were okay. I didn't like it as much as I liked the last record. Not that my opinion is matters the most. Then you start getting into 10,000 Days. I remember this one. It had like, no offense, it had like 2 good songs on this one. It's been a while since I heard it, so maybe I gotta give it another chance. And then we got to this last one. I listened to it once, and I gotta tell you, I did not like it. But that doesn't mean, like I said, it does. You know what I mean? Like, my opinions are not the opinions of the world. It is what it is. Home Puppies Slush. Home Puppy Slush. Says nice beard. Thank you. So I got to this super chat. So how did I miss super chats from? Were they earlier? Samuel Grozow says, why was Kathy Dennis more successful as a songwriter than as a performing artist? A lot of these things, look, things happen, life happens in real time. And there are, just like we talked about, we could talk about and have discussions about terrible songs that hit number 1, right? And talk about the various reasons that happens. We'll also all know about amazing musicians and artists that never pop. Never pop. And it's daunting and it's weird and it's inexplicable. Why was Elliott Smith the size of Elliott Smith, but Dave Matthews is as big as Dave Matthews ended up being, right? Why did the Plain White T's have a monster song with that, hey Winona, ba ba da ba doo ba doo, I'm in New York City and it's snowing next to you, and I'm a guy with a guitar and I'm singing this here song, Dawson Creek soundtrack, here I come yet again. Why did that go huge? But, Vic Chestnut can't get arrested. Life is just not fair. I don't know. And the live chat jumped on me again. I gotta stop. Devin Shovel says the noise scene sounds like a barrel of laughs. I don't even know if there's a noise scene left. Now we know we're getting to the point where I coughed. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Charles Williamson touch. Damian Spencer, in Detroit, we call it that getting a little bit too familiar. Well, that's worth getting on your ass. I mean, you don't like cats. I mean, I apologize. Listen, I try my best. I try my best. Spooky says this is becoming a shit show. Becoming a shit show? Bunya says this is a shit show. Devin Show. Hold tight, Ron Geeson fans. Like the first time Ron Geeson's been mentioned in the world since yada yada since Boom Ba, since like 1967. No, Zikafus, I appreciate it. It was good. It was good. It was good. It was good to be exposed to Odwalla 88, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, I know, like, if I go to the comment section of that Odwalla 88 song, And I'm telling you, folks, it was just revolution number 9. You know what I mean? And that, you know, art school girls doing that was, and you want to talk about 20 nostalgia loop. 2000, there were 2015, so that's 2005, 1995. I guarantee you in 1995. I know in 1995, fuck it. I know exactly who this is. This is a 20-year nostalgia loop from Kid 606 had a record label called Tiger Beat 6. And there was a female duo. Oh, and there was also Mira Kylix. Do you guys know this name? Hold on, let me do this. Hold on. So this is not just like, I'm not just going to be able to do theoretically on Walla 88 is on the 20-year nostalgia loop. I'll tell you exactly who they are. Kevin Blechdom, and there was Blechdom for here we go. Check this out. Let me do this. Hold on. Kevin Blechdom. She's actually female. Born. Well, I guess she. I don't want to misgender anybody. Blechdom for Blechdom, adult radio. Blevin Blechdom. See this. Kristen Grace Erickson was born in 1978 in Florida and raised in Stuart, Florida. She studied piano and classical music at Florida State University. However, she was unhappy with the nature of her studies and transferred to Mills College. Oh my God, that place is like responsible for so much bullshit. In 1997 to study experimental music. She's a BA degree and an MFA degree in electronic music from Mills College, which gets you what? Plenty of student loan debt and basically a 7-inch released on Tiger Beat 6 in San Francisco. While she attended Mills College in Oakland, California, she co-founded Blechdom from Blechdom with Blevin Blechdom, born Bevan Kelly, an experimental electronic group. The two performed together as Blechdom for Blechdom for 4 years, ending in 2002 when one of the girls moved to Germany. She received a doctorate of musical arts. Oh my God, please don't do that. Anyway, it is what it is. She played in an art rock band, adult radio, with her brother, Lumber Rob, aka Rob Erickson, and they were signed to Shimmy Disc. There you go, typical. So this is it. Ugh. So 20-year nostalgia loop from 2015 will be 1990. Well, this girl's first record's come out in 2001, but they were at it. A lot of these guys were at it before then. So that's this stuff. And there were other ones, and there were chicks that were signed to Folktronica. This nonsense. So like a lot of 2015, it's 20-year nostalgia loop to 1995. 1995 was comparatively recently. And everything was done by 1995. That's why in metal, oh my God, there's this brilliant, amazing new sound that people are exploring with bands like Caius and Sleep, playing shit that sounds exactly like it's desert rock, man. That's 1975 butt rock. No offense. I love Caius. When the Circus Leaves Town is an amazing record, and I love it. But I know that part of the reason I love it after the fact is I can go back in time and listen to fucking people that helped me out with the name last time, James Gang, and the fucking, no offense, the fucking Eagles. And I'm like, there's a reason why this stuff sounded good, because they were imitating great bands from the 70s. Pearl Jam. Damian Spencer says, but sculpture is as old as it gets, but you can still make new ones. Yes, you can. But in 2021, it's like I'm not so familiar with the world of sculpture, so it's easier if I go to the world of art. Abstract expressionism, right? Abstract expressionism happened what in the 1940s with Mark Rothko and Jackson Pollock. So there's different ways to do abstract expressionism, but it's like when we talk about noise music, you might be using different tools, but if the end result is either ambient experimental sound or harsh noise music, you're still ending up in categories that have been the rules of which have been established, even if the rules are no melody, no rhythm, no harmony, unstructured sound that goes back 40, 50 years, if not more. If you want to talk about the Italian futurists, some of this stuff goes back to the 1900s. So in sculpture, you can create either representational art, or in sculpture, art, what have you, you can create a representational work, or you can create an abstract. But an abstract sculpture is still going to be pulling on language and established mediums. Like, so you have Jeff Koons's huge, blow up poodle, balloon poodle, whatever. So I know that there's like, I saw, I think at this point, the problem with art is I go to contemporary art museums often. Not as much since COVID-19, but I think I've been to a museum probably every year for the last 30 years, probably at some point or another, with gallery spaces, institutions like the Guggenheim or the San Francisco Museum. I've been to many museums. So I'm not one of these guys that's going to come in here and be like, my kid could have done that. I'm not trying to say that, but what I am trying to say is this. I have noticed when they put forward new contemporary artists, I find myself saying, this stuff really looks more like album covers from various genres, hip hop, black metal, whatever, fetish magazines and stuff, than it does what I think looks like an evolution of art. When you see where Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko and even Andy Warhol, when you see where they were in the evolution of art, and you can see and understand that distinct new things were happening and being done. When it's the same thing with hashtag no new music. If I say hashtag no new art, it's pulling from the same line of reasoning, which is at this point, there's a certain point where if we've already transgressed, there are no rules. This Jackson Pollock drip painting will be seen and taken as a worthy expression, even though a layperson won't be able to distinguish naturally between a real Jackson Pollock and, say, a blow up of a certain art professor's smock. Right? I don't know how you do something abstract that will not naturally look to some degree as if it's coming from some school of thought that has been established by a prior worker. That's not to say that the art isn't worth making, or the artist is wasting our time, or it's a ripoff, or some sort of bullshit game. But it is saying, I'm saying, look at the big picture and know and understand that we may have gotten to a point. It may have been bullshit before to say everything's been done. But once you get to, like I said about noise music, and I use these two endpoints between noise music, unstructured sound that's not melody, doesn't pertain to the rules of melody, rhythm, or harmony. You have works that are barely audible. And you have works like the work of harsh noise artists like Masana or Merzbow or whatever, that is just pulverizing in the extreme. So I don't know how you make sound art that doesn't fit somewhere within those axiomatic points. And therefore, I don't know how you do something, even in the realm of abstract sound, That's new. And you have so many people that are doing things that beyond being not new, they are literally recapitulations of earlier activities. Modular synth noodling can sound amazing. But let's not make the mistake and act as though any of these particular instances of modular synth noodling have like I don't know. Because I'm wary of it. Because there could be someone out there. I could make a statement. There could be someone out there that could falsify that statement with their own testimony. I was going to say something to the degree of like that. That you can't hum this stuff. It doesn't stay with you the same way. And I'm going to be completely honest. There's plenty of people, myself, I am a huge fan of noise music, and there's noise albums that I have heard multiple times. Venerology by Mersbow, because it came at a point in my life where you couldn't afford every noise CD or thing. You would just have what you had and you listen to it. There are people that know Pulse Demon with Upside, Downside, Inside Out. There are people that are that way with Lou Reed's Metal Machine music. But for the most part, most noise music fans have boxes and boxes full of tapes and CDRs that in a blind test, they couldn't tell the difference between one and the other. And that's not the failing of noise music. That's just a quality of noise music, a quality of abstract sound that exists. And we shouldn't lie to ourselves and act like, well, first of all, it's nothing special. I mean, you can hear the singer-songwriter, they're speaking in a language you understand. You can hear the timbre of a person's voice. You can recognize the particular guitar tone or whatever easier than you can with an abstract sound piece. Those are just truisms about the works. And we've been here for 2 hours and I lose my voice. And then eventually I get, well, we're going to get to a point where I'm just going to have to just, uh, William Pixley says, love you, but CW music reviews are not my idea of a great Friday night. They're not my idea of a great Friday night. I was going to be here for an hour and I've been here for 2. There's times when I just think that I just should turn off the live chats. This is not worth it. I'm not trying to be, I could be being a petulant baby about things. I hope I'm not being. But people do things that through no fault of their own, that just end up, either rubbing me the wrong way. And it is what it is. And and it's funny, I'll tell you, this is interesting because the same thing that we're experiencing with Steven, I used to experience with Blue Eyes. And this is it takes 2 to tango. And I think I know what it is in me. Whatever we criticize about other people, we often have in ourselves. So I know that there's probably many things that I've said or critiques or criticisms that I've made that are without a doubt probably hypocritical. I mean, look, I mean, there are people talk about people annoying people on the internet. There are people that have been so annoyed by my antics on the internet that they've sued me, right? So maybe there's a life lesson there. Beyond that, it is interesting for me to know this about myself. I used to say this about my dad. My dad seemed to care infinitely more about the opinions of other people in the world than he did about his own wife and children. Meaning, it mattered more to him, apparently, to be the life of the party or to be considered an absolutely fantastic, fun guy than it mattered to, be there for his kids or whatever. Like he really did seem to care. It would matter more to him if there was a disagreement or a fight between like there were like crazy harebrained things, whatever. I won't go and lie on the couch, but it's like anyway, fuck it. So what I would say about my father is that he cared more about people that gave him that didn't matter than he cared about people that were like truly his friends and family. This is like he was a weird guy. And we're all weird. But it's funny to me because I make that criticism, but it's if you think about who I talk to the most in the live chat, who ends up getting responded to the most, whose comments I seem to be wired to pick up and need to react to, is that it's difficult people. And it's people that are not being, nice. Like if a person is like, "You're awesome, CW," like every once in a while I'll pick up on what they're saying in the live chat. But if a person's like, "CW, man, you're fucking being a total dick about this," I'm gonna hone in on that and I'm gonna respond to that like 100% of the time. Look at if you play back my past videos, look how many times I'm basically having an ongoing conversation with Stephen Ronan. And the same thing used to happen with Blue Eyes all the time. There's just videos where 15, 20 minutes of it is, "No, I get it. I get it, Blue Eyes. I understand. But what I'm saying is this." And it's just like, why? Why do I do that? I don't know. When we do YouTube, we're working things out, I think, to a degree. And there's all sorts of things. If I'm hydrated enough, if I've eaten enough, the stream has gone on to, why does the stream go on for 2 hours and 15 minutes? Oh, sign into the studio YouTube. In the left menu, click monetization. In the menu, the top of the main. What? Okay, let me see if I can do that. Okay, so I go to the YouTube studio. No, wait. Where am I going? YouTube studio. In the left menu, click monetization. Okay. Ah, supers. Oh, here we go. All right. Yeah. Okay. Super Happy Funland. Exclamation point from Zikafus. VW is Quiet Storm and music for airports. I have no idea what that was, but they donated $4.99 that time. And then they said, "Ha ha ha, timestamp this, burn your house down." Then Jasmine Emmerich gave $10 and said, "What is the CMM in your title?" Changed my mind. Sarah the Mage Experiments donated £5 and said, "Is love the law?" ADDG said that. Okay, there you go. Okay, we got it. Oh. Zigafoost 2020, when they donated $4.99, said, VW is Quiet Storm and Music for Airport on the Weather Channel streaming live before the internet. I don't know. Kind of. Timestamp this, burn your house down part for editors. Will you be covering Ender's Game? Lastly, while you have representation, do you review all the motions, notices, etc. pertaining to your case? Yes. Oh, Vaporwave. Okay, Vaporwave is Quiet Storm and Music for Airport on the Weather Channel streaming live before the internet. Okay, we did it. Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine Emmerich. Woo! Rogue Status just showed up. Everybody good? Yeah, right. Oh my God. Here we go. You two guys are cocksuckers. No offense, but you know what I mean? Like, it. Everyone can suck a dick, honestly, including me. I'll just say I'll cover myself. I'll cover my ass, ironically, by saying including myself in the group of people that can suck a dick. I don't even know if it got heated. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Devin Shovel says 20 years exactly since I was exposed to the wider Tiger Beat sound. Absolutely. Whatever happened to what was that? There was that mashups. Remember mashups, like old school true mashups where a person would play two records at the same time. And it wasn't that you mixed between them, it's that you played the two records simultaneously. There was a guy who had two records that came out on Tiger Beat 6, and they were awesome. And they're not available on YouTube, I think probably for copyright reasons. Or not available on iTunes. It was DJ Broken Window. He had some great old school mashups. It was wonderful. Yeah, we have problems with the next season of The Mandalorian because no offense. But if you want to know why that show was huge and why people were tuning in, it's baby fucking Yoda. It's Grogu. All Grogu all the fucking time. Without Grogu, that show is like Game of Thrones without which somebody. You know what I mean? Grogu is that that's why people are tuning in. Yeah, it's Star Wars, whatever. Without Grogu, that show would get as many views on Disney Plus as reruns of The $6 Million Man, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Charles Williamson making the worst joke in the world. Pollock was a drip. Ba-do-do-do. You know, I've never seen Pod Awful. But then again, people, you know, we're pulling from the same zeitgeist. Charles Williamson, I think they're implying that they were involved in, well, who's that artist? It's not I want to say Dean Koontz. It's not Jeff Koons. It was the British equivalent, the overrated British equivalent artist who did the shark in formaldehyde in a tank. It'd be interesting if he actually did work on the piece. Tara Joy says, I'm loving your time loop shows. Good. Don't rewind. Andy literally made album covers. Oh, yeah, Andy Warhol, absolutely. Here we go. There you go. So hopefully I'll get to the end of the live chat and we'll figure it out. Tara Joyce, there hasn't been anything new for a long time. Fashion, art, films, music, absolutely. Charles Williamson, I can't believe you get sued for speaking. You can't believe I get sued for speaking. There you go. There you go. God bless you. God bless you all. So, it is what it is. This might be one of those shows where after the fact I say to myself, oh man, if we had just ended it there, we just ended it here. But we didn't. It is what it is. And the stream continues as it does. And I could speak or I could talk, from the heart, from the area of feeling, but I might end up just getting myself in the same amount of trouble. And for the same reasons, if I haven't eaten, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. So this happens, and I know this. There are people that just, when they start getting themselves in trouble, they just can't stop digging. So you're just gonna, what's the expression the kids use? You're gonna spurg out on everybody. Stephen, God bless you. I'm not gonna put it to a vote. I'm not gonna put 5 minutes on the clock and give you time to apologize. How about this? How about I suggest you just shut the fuck up and say that you're sorry for any misunderstandings? I apologize for my own statements on this fucking show. In retrospect, and people can't win with me. And here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll be honest about. I can't blame people when they network in the live chat because I feel like this happens sometimes. I don't know that this happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. What did I do, CW? You're just, Stephen, baby, if you don't know, if this is what I mean. This is what I say about you all the time, because now we've developed a relationship and we see patterns develop. Are you pleading ignorance or are you really ignorant? Because I'll tell you this, if you don't know what you did, if you don't know, after all this commentary back and forth, what you did to piss me off and to piss other people in the live chat off, to take an uncomfortable situation, make it more uncomfortable, in specific, baby, if you need me to if you haven't heard me this far, then there's no reason for me to think that you're going to. And talking about, so listen, here's the thing. I went down this road with Philip, who I love. And Stephen, I love you. I am reminded, Stephen, your behavior is baffling, but you know what? Sometimes people's behavior is baffling. So what I'll do is I'll ask you to forgive my transgressions, and I'll forgive your transgressions towards me, or the perceived transgressions towards me. I'm not going to get into what you may or did not or would have done or whatever, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's all chill the fuck out. I'm in this fucking Chex Mix. ASMR Chex Mix. And I can't win with anybody. And Stephen, I know that there's times when I'm like, when I've eaten and I'm well hydrated and I had a good night's sleep, where I'm like, everybody get to know each other, exchange emails. I'd like to take this opportunity to blow up Spooky Spot. Here's their fucking Patreon, blah, 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 blah. And then day 2, if I haven't eaten or whatever, or I'm pissed, I'm like, oh, and I see that Spooky is mentioning their channel in the video that they did 2 weeks ago. Wow. Well, I just want to say, fuck you. That's kind of really like the shittiest thing you could do. But I guess you don't know how to behave in real life because you're an asshole. Right? It's like anti-ASMR, right? That's the sugary kind. It's probably bad. I gotta eat some. And every Friday is the same fucking deal with me. Every Friday is the same fucking deal with me. I get on. And I say to myself, oh, fuck, what time is it? 5 o'clock? Shit, I don't want to be here in this office all fucking night. I'll know what I'll do. I'll just make it a 30-minute video. I'll just make it an hour video. It'll be cool, concise, small. We'll talk to the live chat for a little bit. Then we'll clock out, and that'll be good. And then here we are at 2 hours and 30 minutes into this shit show. Do you understand that if we go for another 30 minutes, I'll basically be saying to the world, I think that me ranting about no new music is as important as fucking Ben Kingsley's performance in Gandhi. Gandhi was 3 hours long, and they were like, holy shit, that's like 2 movies. And this is like longer than fucking Infinity War. But it's just me talking. What am I doing? Who watches these videos? Do you think, I'm curious, after the live stream is done, does anybody watch these videos? I mean, I think that there's like I see the view count, and I'm thinking that a lot of the view count, it's okay. It is what it is, baby. It's all good. We're all gonna be. It's all gonna be fine. Yeah. But like doing that, like I know that people must like I feel like sometimes the view count has got to be 90% of people tuning in, starting the broadcast, getting about 15 minutes in, and then being like, fuck it. F1 for you says sometimes I only feel safe watching replay. 25 Dad says, I go back and watch the videos that aren't about weird conspiracy people. Like, you're like the one guy. You're like Bizarro CW Chanter fan. Do you understand that? I love you. Stephanie Jackson says, I like to do my makeup and do errands during the show. It's like, what errands? Well, I went down to Home Depot. I shopped for 2x4s, got a couple, came back home, realized they were wrong size, took them back, exchanged them, came back, did my makeup, did a retouch, cooked dinner, served dinner, took a nap, woke up, and CW Chandler was still talking. There you go. Spam. Okay. Okay, guys. I have no idea. And I wish people wouldn't turn on each other. Jay Roach says, it's not about the view count. At the end of the day, brah, it's the content that matters most. I'm screwed on both counts. $15,000 in legal fees for this. I love you, folks. We gotta call it somewhere. You know, it's the thing about improvised music. This goes back to, this is one of the quintessential things. Ray Manzarek of the Doors, talking about the improvised nature of the Doors performances. He said, what you have to understand is this, is that when we were on and when it clicked, the band, the audience, Jim, everyone was one entity experiencing one transformative journey through space and time, to the point where space and time would dissolve. I'm paraphrasing to a degree. But what you have to understand, he said, is that sometimes when you're doing that type of work, improv, sometimes it works and you get to those transcendent moments, and sometimes it just fucking shits the bed. And nobody talks about the times on tour that the Doors shit the bed. They talk about the legendary performances. We have neither of those things. Anyway, I love you. I love you. I love you. If no one told you they loved you today, somebody just did. And that's somebody, CW Chanter. Make of that what you will. Da 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 da. Thank you for all the people that participated in the live chat. Holy shit. Thank you for the people that gave super chat donations. And it is what it is, and everything's crazy, and I blame myself. I just blame myself. I blame myself. And we end on this. Happy Valentine's Day.